lead heads, and welcome back to the Talking Lead Show. I'm your host, Left Hand, and I am coming off a short week of vacation. As you guys heard from last week's episode, I took a few days off and hit you guys with a show from the archives. It was episode 93, where we had Zeke, the Squatch. If you guys listened to that show, we were talking about bow hunting, and we had Adam Mattis with Orion's Kin. So you guys can check them out on the Pursuit channel, and hopefully we can get Adam back on again here in the near future and get an update with what's been going on with those guys. So also, I told you guys we had a huge announcement that we're going to be making this week. And to help me make that announcement, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest this week, Brady Speth with RITON USA. Brady, welcome in.
Thank you. I appreciate having me on today.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you taking time from your vacation. I know you're still on vacation. You took a little longer vacation than old Lefty did. We
got 1 day left, so we're up in Whitefish, Montana. We scheduled it perfectly with a few events we were doing, so we got a little vacation time in with some events. And
yeah, you guys were up there for the Antares Alliance, the Wingspan event.
We were, yep. We were up there for that a couple weeks ago, and then had another one this last weekend, and then now it's kind of all wrapping up. What
was the other event that you were up there for?
We're up here for a shoot we did at one of the ranges down in western Montana. It's kind of like a demo days, we're not big on traditional gun show type things. We try to get out and we want people to use our glass actually at the range and try them out. So we're really big on getting guns and optics in people's hands. So
getting the hands-on approach. I like that.
Exactly. Yep, that's how you know.
Yeah, very good, very good. So you guys are getting ready to pack up and head back home, which home is in Arizona, right?
Yep, Tucson, Arizona. They been about 115 degrees the last couple weeks, so not really looking forward to getting home. But
I can imagine. So you're going from the beautiful mountains to the desert.
Yep, the high desert. No pine trees and nothing in sight. So nothing but saguaro cactus.
Well, it'll take in the sights while you're there, and you can bring them home with you. You know.
Right.
Absolutely.
I have to show my kids what actual grass is, so that's been fun.
So before we get started, we want to go ahead and thank the sponsors of the show, Frontier Tactical. You guys have heard us talk about Frontier Tactical. They are the developers of the Warlock system, the multi-caliber adapter that you can put on your AR-15 and shoot up to 90 different calibers from your one AR platform. And to make it even easier for you guys, they have started manufacturing their own line of ARs, the FT series, and they come standard with that Warlock system on them. Completely modular system. You guys go to frontiertactical.com, check them out. You're going to love them. They've got rifles, they've got the pistols, the AR pistols with the stabilizing braces on them for awesome truck guns. They've got some videos out, if you've not seen them, to where I think there's one where a lady, have you seen the one where the lady's got it in her purse? She's got an AR in her purse, and
yeah, I love that one. The be able to just completely unfold it and
just straight out of her purse. She just pops the top on it, locks in the Warlock system, boom, and she's got her AR-15 pistol ready to go. So it's pretty cool. So what I was leading to is they make great pack guns or truck guns, easily concealable, easy to get to. And then you can change the calibers out just with a twist of that Warlock system. Modern Spartan systems for all your gun optimizing needs for lubes, cleaning solutions. They even have Opitcs cleaners. Hey, they work really good.
I'm gonna have to get one.
They've got a solution in there that helps clean your glass on your optics. And then they even got a product for your vehicles, the TVT engine additive. I've been using it in the lead sled. And I just went over 304,000 miles yesterday on my trip to the Talking Lead range, the Pit. We went down there and did some shooting with some new rifles that we got in, and it's running like a top. Now, I did have a little breakdown, Brady, on my trip yesterday. A rare one for the lead sled too. I've had to replace very few things on it's a 98 GMC Yukon. It's the what do you call it? It's the wheel, the little arm on the wheel came loose. I'm not a mechanic, but anyway,
one of the control arms. Or
yeah, it was one of the control arms came loose, and I heard this rattling, and I reached down and saw that arm was loose, and everybody that was with me was like, "Man, your wheel's gonna fall off. You got to get that fixed. So luckily enough, where I was at, there was a mechanic that was open, and they got it right in, changed the part out. I mean, it only took them like an hour to fix the part on it, and she's as good as new. And I'm tooling down the road again. So, and it's due to that Modern Spartan Systems TVT engine additive. So you guys try that out as well. X Steel Targets.
X Steel Targets.
For all your AR 500 steel target needs, you guys need to check out X Steel Targets. Just got off the phone with Bud, and they are in the process of coming up with some new services for you guys in addition to their AR 500 steel targets. But we're going to get Bud on, and we're going to let him talk about that. But we were shooting some of his targets yesterday. There were some spinners that we were trying out. There was a hostage target that we were trying out. And we were going long range on some of the silhouette targets. And we're probably about 300 yards out. And, I mean, the distinctive ting of that AR-500 steel is just, it's unmistakable. So you know you hit that target every time when you shoot at the AR-500 steel targets. And they can custom make targets, too. So if there's something on there you guys were looking for and you didn't see, get in touch with Bud, and they can make it for you. xsteeltargets.com. Glock, the official carry of Left Hand of Talking Lead. I carry the Glock 23 and the Glock 27, Brady. What do you think about the 40 caliber round?
That's kind of where I got broken in with the Glocks. When I was a federal agent, that's what we carried. We carried the 40 cal. That's all I carry. I actually have those exact two guns you just mentioned. So,
and that's what I cut my teeth on too, was the 40 cal. So that's probably why I'm a little partial to it. I'm just kind of used to it. That's what I cut my teeth on. But I've got Glock 9s, I've got Glock 45s. I've got them all. But personally, my carry, what I trust to defend my life with, the Glock 27 and the Glock 23. But you guys can choose your own because they've got all kinds of different varieties, different sizes. And if you want to live that Glock lifestyle, you can go to their website and you can get T-shirts, hats, coolers, cigar cutters, all kinds of things. You think of it, they probably got it at the Glock store. So go check them out at glock.com. And now we're going to go ahead and make this big announcement, Brady. We've got a new official sponsor. The official Opitcs sponsor of Talking Lead is RITON USA. Always right on with RITON USA and Brady. Welcome aboard, Brady.
I appreciate it. We are happy to be aboard.
This is exciting, man. The optics are something new that I'm getting into, as far as it was first I started off with handguns, then I got into rifles, and then, of course, when you get into rifles, then optics become very important. And that's something that I've kind of been putting back, because finding that right optic is, it's like finding the right pair of shoes sometimes. It's kind of trial and error, but when you find that pair that you like, then, that's what you're going to wear. And that's what I'm finding with RITON USA. I'm very proud to have you guys aboard. Not only that, but the things that you guys stand for. And that's what we're gonna get into, talking to Brady about more about RITON, the company, Brady himself, and you guys stand by for that, because I hear the Jackwagon train rolling in, so we got to take care of these Jackwagons first, Brady.
I like it. Let's do it.
Hoorah, Semper Fi, do or die, hold 'em high at 8th and 9. It is time for the Talking Lead Jackwagon of the Week, so brace yourself, baby.
All right, the train has stationed, and the Jackwagons for this week, we've thrown these guys on before, but this story has developed, and we told you that we would keep you guys posted. And thanks to Brian Lefevre, Leadhead Lefevre, for sending this update to us. This is for those, you guys may remember back a few months, back around, I guess, February, there was these two dickheads that were trying to make a Second Amendment point by open carrying their guns, their sidearms, their ARs, and one of the media sources said that they were carrying an AP-14. which I have no idea what the hell an AP-14 is. Have you ever heard of an AP-14?
I have not. I was reading through this article, and I have no idea what that is.
Okay,
I
so
do some research, I guess. But
I think this is another made-up Bloomberg firearm.
right,
probably like an
we've
armor.
been corrected, but I've never heard of it.
Like our last episode, the lady said that a Ruger 1022 will kill 10 people with one bullet. So
the logic
that's their logic. So I guess their logic in this AP-14 is that it's an armor-piercing bullet that'll kill 14 cops with one bullet. I don't know. Anyway, these guys went to trial and they lost. Let's give you some background in case you guys don't know the story on this. So there was these two guys. They were in Dearborn, Michigan. There was a complaint called in. I think they were at a shopping mall. They were wearing full body armor. They had masks on, and they were sitting in this mall parking lot or something. And somebody called the police and said, hey, there's some suspicious looking dudes in the parking lot, which rightfully so, right? So the police go, they check it out. The guys had moved, I think, since then to somewhere else, but they finally tracked the guys down. They pulled them over, stopped them, asked them, hey, what the hell are you guys doing? What's going on here? And of course, they make a big deal about it, saying, hey, why are you stopping us? You're infringing on our rights. We're not doing anything illegal, blah, blah, blah. The police officer then says, well, if you got a problem with that, then why don't you come down to the police station and file a complaint? So these guys took him up on his invitation. They show up at the police station, and I'm paraphrasing this whole thing, guys. You can Google this and get the whole story.
Yeah.
So they walk into the police station. They've got the ski mask or baklava mask on. They've got their body armor on. They've got their AR and AP-14, whatever the hell that is, slung over their shoulders. They're open carrying with their handguns, which I don't think Dearborn has a law one way or the other, open or concealed carry in place. From what I understand, I'm not real sure on that, but from what I read, but their whole thing, I think, is trying to prove that the open carry, if there's no laws, then it's just understood that you can carry. But
yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. Looks like what their attorney's arguing is it's completely legal to open carry.
Completely legal, and I don't think there's any ordinances against carrying inside the police station either. But at the same time, these guys are carrying cameras too. And there's a video of this too. You guys can go to www.mlive.com, Google open carry advocates convicted on silliest technicality, attorney says. You can Google that. The story will come up. But these guys walk in the police station, and of course they're not just, walking in, they're strutting in, Obviously the police officers, as soon as they see them come in, they draw on them and say, hey, drop your weapons, get down, blah, blah, blah. They're refusing. They're arguing with them, which is stupid. They're going to get shot. I don't know. Maybe they were hoping they would get shot. But I got to give kudos to the Dearborn police people for not just popping these guys, right off the bat. Because, I think that was their whole intention was to draw some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, Brady? Confrontation.
Yeah, they were trying to instigate something.
Yeah, they were obviously instigating something here. But they eventually surrendered. They were arrested. They were released. They went on trial. And then this is where this story comes into play. So both men, 41-year-old Brandon Verland of Jackson and 24-year-old James C. Baker of Leonard, they were immediately ordered to the ground, handcuffed, arrested. Even though their attorney says it's completely legal to open carry firearms in a Michigan police station, a jury on Friday, July 7th, convicted both men of illegally carrying a concealed weapon, which is punishable by up to 5 years in prison, but not due to their actions at the police station. So this is where they got them.
This is my favorite part of this article right here.
Mine too. This is
the
good.
next part. Yep.
So Wayne County prosecutors instead used video recorded by defendants to incriminate them for illegally concealing a firearm prior to the incident with police. Baker was tripped up on the silliest of technicalities, said his attorney, who's very confident both carrying concealed weapon convictions will be dismissed on appeal. The jury ruled Baker wasn't guilty of charges of brandishing a firearm nor disturbing the peace. The same jury, however, convicted, it's Vreeland, I think I was calling him Verland, but it's Vreeland, of misdemeanor, disturbing the peace, and resisting arrest, which carries a maximum sentence of 2 years in prison. Video seized by the police showed Baker placing his rifle in the trunk of Vreeland's vehicle sometime prior to them entering the police station. Says, although the attorney said the weapon was unloaded and locked in the trunk as required by Michigan law, it wasn't clear if it was also in a gun case, which is yet another requirement to transport a gun in a vehicle without a concealed pistol license. So they're like, all right, you smart asses. We found something that you didn't do right here. And it says these guys had their permits and could carry, but it said back in 2015, Baker, it said he obtained a CPL license in 2015, but was later charged with disturbing the peace resulting from his involvement in an open carry march in Wayne County. So, I mean, he does this stuff all the time, apparently. His CPL was revoked while the case proceeded. The charges were later dismissed, and the attorney says the CPL should have been immediately reinstated in August 2015. So apparently his license that was revoked was never reinstated. So although he thought he was legally carrying, he wasn't because his license wasn't reinstated. And they got him for illegally transporting a firearm to the police station that day. So I think these guys should go to jail. I think they're just shit stirrers. They're giving all us other Second Amendment proponents a bad name. I mean, yeah, kudos for their passion and standing up for the Second Amendment, but they're doing it the wrong way. They're not doing it the right way. Let's see. It says a Wayne County judge agreed with the attorney and dismissed the carrying a concealed weapons charge against both Baker and Vreeland, but Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy's office appealed, called it a legal Hail Mary, and won when newly appointed Judge Miriam S. Bazzi reinstated the charges. So they got off, but the prosecutor appealed. There was a new judge assigned to it, and she overturned it and found them guilty. And, of course, these guys are going to appeal that, I'm sure.
I think the biggest kind of underlying thing here, though, is kind of what you said, is I'm all about carrying. I'm all about Second Amendment. That's 100% what we stand for, but go about it the right way. It's not these guys are say, look at me, and
right. These guys obviously were fishing for the police to confront them by driving around the town wearing these masks, wearing the body armor, looking threatening. They knew somebody was going to call the police. They knew the police would eventually, pull them over. They had the video cameras to video all this, so, they were fully intending to catch everything on video, try to entrap, I guess, the police officers into either beating their asses or shooting them or something. I don't know. But there's video of it, and if you listen to where they walk into the police station, I mean, it gets pretty heated, and you think that they're going to get shot. But again, kudos to the officers there at the Dearborn Police Station for not, probably putting a cap in these guys' asses that more than deserved it, in my opinion. So, Leadhead Lefevre, I hope that satisfied your curiosity as to my input on this and Brady's. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to it, Brady?
No, I think that covers it. I mean, I think it is a right that we all have according to the Second Amendment, but use it responsibly. That's the thing we always crack up about is like, it is a right, but come on, there's no reason to try to instigate. I don't take a video every time I conceal carry. I don't go around looking for trouble. That's the unresponsible side of what that allows us to do by having the Second Amendment right.
It is, and it just opens up like these stories, it opens you up for the criticism, and you're going to lose when you do something like this every time. The responsible thing to do is if you want to push and promote our Second Amendment, join an organization like NRA, the National Shooting Sports Foundation, and teach and preach safe, responsible firearm ownership, firearm training, firearm maintenance, and do it by example. Lead by example.
Yep.
And if you've got a question as to your local law as to carry or conceal, how you're supposed to carry, then go to your local law enforcement agency there, I guess, and talk to them about it. But don't go in guns,
body armor and
guns ablazing and thinking that you're in the right, because that's just asking for trouble. So I'm on the Dearborn police side on this one. Sorry. Or not. I'm not sorry. I'm really not. What about you? You got any Jackwagons you want to throw on the train this week?
I think that one's a good one. I'm gonna have to look up a few, because we were talking prior to the show about some of these instructors and some of the misnomers surrounding a lot of this stuff, where you may be in the right, but just because you're in the right doesn't mean it's the right thing to do all the time. And so I'm gonna definitely have to see who I can submit to this.
Yeah, there's definitely other ways that you can go about proving that you're right.
Yep.
Because not everybody knows you're right, and sometimes
exactly.
Sometimes that might lead to a bullet in your ass. And that goes back to I know you were talking about trainers and whatnot. The Voda guy, we've thrown him on a couple of times. I think he's made the Jackwagon Train, and we can't throw him on there enough. I mean, he's just a complete idiot. I mean, he's the perfect example of shit you shouldn't do. So watch him, and everything he does. Actually, don't watch him. Just don't watch him.
The opposite.
Please,
yeah, just don't even put it in there.
Yeah, just don't watch him. Don't encourage him. He just needs to go away.
Agreed.
All right, so that's our Jackwagon Train this week, guys. If you've got a Jackwagon you'd like to submit, then send your submissions to talkinglead@gmail.com, or you can, like Brian did, send us a message through our Facebook page. We look forward to hearing from you. All right, so now we want to find out more about you, Brady, and RITON USA. Now, I know this isn't your first time on the show. You and Sean were on at NRA. Good interview, short interview. We learned a little bit about RITON, but we're going to get more detail about your company. Did I hit you guys with any of the first-time guest questions?
I think we did a few. But you feel free to shoot again, just so we get it out there. Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about RITON, and then we're gonna hit you up with some of the new guy questions.
I like it.
So talk about RITON. How did you guys get into the optics business?
So the history of RITON and kind of my personal history obviously are pretty closely tied. So I'll kind of start with me and how that led to RITON. So okay. I've been hunting, shooting my entire life. I actually grew up in Montana on a Black Angus cattle ranch, so I've pretty much been in the outdoors my entire life. Started hunting when I was shooting with my brothers and my dad when I was 5-6 years old, so it's kind of been something that's always been a part of my life.
Right.
Then that led, I ended up joining the military, did a tour in the military for about 5 years, and then kind of ended up after some schooling, ended up as a federal agent out in DC, and that's kind of where the real optics part of this kind of came into started being. I started consulting for an optics company, kind of on design, not necessarily on like the optical engineering side, but more on design, more on the practical application of optics, and consulting on what you see, what you touch, how the function of the zoom ring, the turret, stuff like that, how that actually works in an optic. So I started consulting on that as I was a federal agent. I worked for the Capitol Police out in DC. That kind of led, some of the consulting work actually kind of led to having the right connections, which we all know in any industry is incredibly important. So I met the right people. The biggest thing with that was the right manufacturers that could actually help us develop some of the things that I thought was missing or lacking in some of the other optics I was working with. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of took it from there. So we started designing our own optics. We formally started RITON about 4.5 years ago, while I was still working full time out in DC. So you can imagine how that went. We were doing an 8 to 12 hour day at the Capitol, and then
so what were you doing in DC? What was your?
So the Capitol Police is
Capitol Police.
Capitol Police. So it's the easiest way to describe it is they're the Secret Service is for the legislative, or for the executive branch. The Capitol Police is for the legislative branch. So we do physical security of the Capitol complex. We do dignitary protection. It's a full-fledged law enforcement department. We have bomb, techs, K9, CERT, SWAT team. So essentially a full police department, but all focused around the legislative branch and the Capitol complex.
And how long did you do that?
I did that for just over 2 years.
Okay, so you didn't have a good president.
What's that?
I said, so you didn't have a good president to work for.
No comment.
Right.
I unfortunately was doing right on when our newest president was elected.
Well, let me rephrase that. You didn't have a president that stood behind you to work for. That had your best interest.
Is one of the chief complaints and the hardest thing I had with working out there is it's hard to work for people who
don't
undermine
care about
the fact that they want to be protected with men with guns, but they don't necessarily want you to be able to protect your family with a gun. So that was definitely a sticking point for me. So
yeah, well said. All right, we won't harp on that.
Yeah, that definitely is a hard thing to swallow when you're doing some of that work, but you still do it anyways. You take an oath to do something, you do it. So it's more about the people around you and the people you work with, and
there you go.
You got to do. So that's kind of how it started. I was working full time there, working full time, getting RITON off the ground. I have 2 small children, so there wasn't exactly a lot of time left in the day. So it got to the point where it was either we had to choose one or the other. So we chose RITON, and I quit my federal law enforcement position, and we moved back to Arizona, which was one of the last places I was stationed in the military. And we knew it was a really good place to try to run a company.
Yeah.
So we moved back to Arizona, and I've been kind of running with it ever since. So.
Arizona is a good state. I mean, it gets a bad rap for the heat, but you talk about when people retire and for health reasons, it's like a really healthy place to live too. Just the air and the environment and everything there.
Yeah, exactly. And you get rid of those 3 months in the summer, and the other 9 are awesome months to be outdoors, and pretty much anything you can think of outdoors. We have a 7,000-foot mountain, 20-minute drive away. We have the desert. We have everything you can think of. So
yeah, then if you don't like those 3 months where it's really hot, you just do like you do and go to Montana.
Schedule events in Montana.
There you go.
I'm smarter than I look.
Yeah.
So RITON kind of took off from there. Our biggest thing was getting the product right. So that was kind of the first 3 years of RITON was really all design, research, development, getting our first couple products right. We launched our Mod 3 and Mod 5 lines about a year and a half now. We've been doing retail for about a year and a half. Been growing incredibly fast. We have dealers in over 10 states. Mainly right now our presence is on the West Coast, everywhere from Texas, Arizona, California, all the way up through Alaska. Mm-hmm. Really starting a big push now, kind of growing throughout the country, picking up dealers. Just
coming down south.
That's the next push. We're working with some different people down there, trying to grow down south. Looking forward to expanding into Tennessee and Georgia and Florida and picking up down south. So that's kind of our next big push here.
Very cool. Very cool. And obviously we can help you with that.
I like it.
So how did you decide to get into optics? You said you had done some consulting for a company. Can you talk about which company that was?
Unfortunately, I can't.
Okay.
I have some non-disclosure stuff with them as part of my consulting work, but
no, that's fine. I understand.
So unfortunately, I can't do that. But yeah, it kind of introduced me to the side of I'd always been a user of optics.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, as most of us, we buy a scope, we mount it, we use it, it works. We don't really think too much on the inside of.
Right, and that's kind of what you
know.
Yeah, that's kind of the thought process of optics is you throw it on there and you want to be able to see obviously what you're shooting, and then you shoot.
Exactly.
That's kind of my thought approach, to it until I started getting more into the optics. But as a consultant, that's kind of how that was your exposure to more of the detailed insight of optics and what it went into them, and that kind of where you're like, hey, I can do better than this. Right?
Honestly, that was exactly kind of how it went. As it was, I knew that I didn't necessarily personally have the ability. That's why I surround myself with people smarter than me
Right.
on the optical engineering side. So the internals, my thought was from a practical application of wait a minute, I know now I can create this, I can add this, I shoot with gloves on. I grew up in Montana in the winters. I want to be able to use this optic 24/7. I want to be able to do different things with it. So to know then we can start actually influencing some of the design, some of the changes within what we would want. I want people to buy my optic, throw it on their gun and not think about it the way I do, because I want it needs to work. It needs to work without thought. I just want it to always work. But then also in the back of your mind, we love it when people are like, man, I'm really glad you did this. I'm really glad the turrets do that, because it just makes sense. And that's kind of a big part of how we approach everything we do is we get it out to law enforcement guys. We get all of our test models and prototypes out to military guys. We do all our cold weather testing with military snipers up in Fairbanks, Alaska. We want to make sure that it actually works in all those climates, but also I don't want the end user, the consumer, to have to think about it. It should just work. And then they're like, wow, they actually had some thought process and how they designed these and how they did even the relief cuts in the zoom ring and how they do the fast focus eyepiece. Just simple stuff, but we didn't want. That's kind of how we approached it.
What was all right? So you're going into this with the ideas like, I'm seeing what these guys are doing as a user of these optics in the military, federal law enforcement. Here's some things that I see that I can do better. What was your biggest kind of, I guess I don't say argument, but maybe your biggest, the one thing that sets you off is like, I really want to make this better in an optic.
The biggest one for us, and this is how we approach everything. So we do, kind of to answer your question in a roundabout way, we do things a little different with the way we source our products. So we source all our own glass, we source all our own aluminum for our tubes. So one of the big things and that we saw a gap was the consumer market is not the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 scopes. Most people can't afford that. Most people don't know how to use the attributes that come along with those expensive scopes. So where we saw a really big open window was bringing the clarity of glass, bringing some of like the precision of the turrets to the consumer, bringing it in at a $500, $600, $700, $800 price point, and even lower. I mean, we have a $200 22 scope that uses that same high quality glass. So where we kind of saw a gap was taking we source all our glass from Japan. So take a high end Japanese glass that people are using in a $2,000 or $3,000 scope and bring that into a $200 scope. Let people actually enjoy what it's like to not get eye fatigue after 2 minutes of looking through a scope because the glass is so crappy. We wanted to kind of be able to fix that. We say we're not reinventing the wheel. At the end of the day, it's a tube with glass in it. So we're not reinventing the wheel. We're kind of putting our spin on it and kind of perfecting it to what we would want. And that's why we reach out to so many different people through military, hunting, law enforcement to help us with our designs. We don't know what everybody wants, so we reach out and try to get people to do that. So that was kind of our thought process.
I mean, obviously, it's not 100% USA. You've got to go to other countries to get some of this stuff, to get quality, parts and whatnot. The glass that you're talking about, obviously, glass is made from sand. What makes Japanese sand better than Daytona Beach, Florida sand?
Well, now I'm going to feel bad if I knock Daytona Beach. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's ever made glass out of that.
Well, I was going to say, because Daytona Beach, that's where all the tourists, they piss in the sand.
Right? The biggest difference when it comes to glass is impurities. So all sand has impurities in it. So a lot of it has to do with the processing of getting the impurities out of the sand before it is actually melted in and get into actually making the lens. So it starts at the base level of that, and then it also goes into the different mixtures of what actually goes in with that sand, because you're not just heating up sand and turning it into HEED glass. So the different mixtures that go into that, and then the processes and our coatings. That's another big one too. Why we get Japanese glass, the coatings. Everything we do is fully multi-coated, so that means every lens is coated for fog proofing, waterproofing.
And what are you coating it with?
So it's actually, without getting too deep into...
Yeah, don't give away your recipes, but just...
That make our glass good. The coatings are... So some of it, we do like a hydrophobic coating, stuff that makes it waterproof. Some of the different things that we do increase the ability to stand up to differences in temperature change so it doesn't fog up. And And that it has to do with not just our coatings, but we either nitrogen or argon purge and seal our scopes as well. So you purge them and seal them with a dry gas inside, and it actually helps with your waterproofing, your fog proofing. So that way there's no moisture built up as a scope goes through heat cycles. As it goes from, 20 degrees in the morning to 60 degrees while you're out hunting and then back down cold again at night. You don't get that buildup of moisture inside because it's all purged and sealed with a dry gas.
Now, obviously, you do that step after you've got the tube and the glass and you're putting it all together. Do you do all that in the United States?
So what we do, and the easiest way to answer this is it's price point dependent.
Okay.
It's impossible to make a $200 scope in the U.S. So we source all our own parts, and then we have them assembled overseas depending on the price point.
Okay.
And that's kind of an industry standard. It depends on some of our lower ones are China. We have some in the Philippines. We have some in Japan. The reason we set up our sourcing the way we did is we're working towards assembling in the U.S. with parts that we source, and then our ultimate goal as a company is to be 100% with our high-end stuff made in the U.S. So that's kind of our plan and how we're going about it. That's all price point dependent. And you can't. We would love 100%. I mean, I'm a vet. We hire vets.
Well, sure, but a lot of these companies will say that their stuff's made in the USA, but in actuality, it's not. Because they do a lot of the things that you're saying that you can't do in the USA. It has to be done elsewhere. And
right.
I mean, you guys are upfront about that. You're not trying to
100%. We
say it's something that's not.
It's supposed to be labeled when it comes in, where it's made. A lot of companies in our industry and others don't do that. We don't hide behind it. Some of our couple $100 scopes are final assembled in China, and I'll tell you, they're final assembled in China. What we do to relieve that is we do a 30-day money-back guarantee. Buy my scope. If you don't like it, send it back. I'll give you your money back. I'm not going to hold you to it. If you don't like it, that's fine. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
We do our unlimited lifetime warranty, which when we set up the company, we took everybody's warranty that was already out there and we beat that by what we do is we don't do any refurbing. We don't do any fixing. If you break or manage to break any one of our optics, you send it in. Within 48 hours, we send you a new one. No questions asked.
Boom, just like that.
We don't do registration. We don't do, transferable anything. If one of our scopes and your great grandson owns it 20 years from now and breaks it, we send them a new one. And that kind of alleviates that fear that people have. It's an unfounded fear, unfortunately, because there are some crappy products out there. We all get that. But the way we do it, so we do our own design in the U.S. We do our own testing, all our own quality control. We don't ship direct from our overseas factories to our dealers like most other manufacturers do. Everything that we do comes into our facility in Arizona. It's quality control checked. We do random tests on scopes. And then before we ship it out to either our dealers or our end users, we do another quality control check. So that's kind of how we alleviate some of the fears that people have with overseas products. We make sure we get our hands on every single one that comes into our facility before it goes out to our customer.
Nice. And that's a legitimate, you say fear, but it's concern, Yeah. And it's something that I've experienced myself with some optics, rangefinder in particular, where the eyepiece broke off of the rangefinder. And I'm like, why is that? Why would that? That's the least, thing that I would think would happen.
Right.
I think I'd break a glass or something before that. So, and it looks like something that'd be easily reattached, put back on, just put that cover back on or something. But I don't know. But anyway, I tried to contact the company. I'm not going to say who the company is. And I kept getting the runarounds like, well, you need to talk to this department. So I talked to that department, and they'd send me to another department. So I finally got in touch with somebody, and basically they told me, it's like, well, sorry, go buy another one.
Wow.
That was, yeah, and that's basically, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what they told me. It's like, sorry, you're shit out of luck. We're not going to do anything about it. I was like, okay, I'm done with you.
I will not be buying another one of your products. Yeah.
Right. And it may rhyme with Lemons, the name of the company. I don't know.
Yeah, it cracked me up. And honestly, I mean, we're consumers as well. That's part of it. I mean, how do you want to be treated? I always hate, these companies who forget that they buy stuff too. The people, our customers are just like us. We buy products every day from other companies. They buy something from us. How do we want to be treated when I have a problem? you don't judge a company on how they react when everything's peachy and nothing's wrong. You judge a company on how they treat their customers when something happens. Right. We test our products. We put them through anything you can think of, down to the fact that we literally have scopes in the office that we call our parking lot scopes, that whenever anybody's frustrated or pissed off or something happens, they take a scope, they walk into the parking lot, they chuck it across the parking lot, they go pick it up, they bring it back in. And it's as funny as it sounds, like we use that as testing. Yeah. We have some red dots in there that have been parking lot red dots for a year now that look like a banana peel peeling back, and the red dot still works, so it gives us an idea of kind of,
well, I've got to tell you,
and doing some of that,
and as the listeners know, if you really want something tested, just give it to me, because I'll break it. It boils down to it. If I touch it, I'm going to break it somehow. I've done that with ARs. I've done it with pistols. I've done it with Glocks. Even jacked up a Glock. So
that takes talent.
It does.
Nice.
But yeah, I've got a reputation of breaking shit. So
good. Well,
if it holds up to me, then you got a good product, brother.
I like it.
Yeah. So far, so good. So far, so good.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. And the biggest thing we say too is like there's no perfect product. There's going to be something that slips through our quality control. There's going to be something that breaks. There's going to be something that happens, and that's right. I hope you break one of ours somehow. I'm not going to give you ideas how to do it, but if I break one, I hope you do, because then you'll get to experience what our customer service is like.
But Brady, it's like I don't go in trying to break these things. It's just I'm using them the way that I would use them, and it's like I broke a side charging handle off of an AR one time. Just snapped it. I was like, was this supposed to do this?
Movable?
He's like, what the fuck did you do? And this was one of their prototypes too. So I mean, it was still going through some stuff, and we figured out what the problem was. I mean, it wasn't me; it was something that they'd done. Some measurements were off, and but yeah. So let's talk about your product. Yeah, let's talk about the different products that you guys do offer for your optics. You've got a good variety. I know you're a new company. You're just starting out, and you've got a lot of things coming down the pike as well. But just right off, I mean, you guys have a very good selection.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That was kind of our big one. So I kind of mentioned earlier, to start, we came out with our Mod 3s and our Mod 5s. Our Mod 3 line is really AR dedicated, AR based line. We do a 5.56 BDC reticle in all of them. It accounts for, bullet drop out to 600 yards. So it's immediate. You don't have to mess with turrets, anything. You set it in 100 and you got the bullet drop already calculated for you. So, that's kind of our Mod 3 line. There's a few other ones in there. We have a 2-7x32 that's kind of 22 specific. Mm-hmm. But that's also worked on, a 22 conversion on an AR. So we leave that within that AR line of our Mod 3s. And that's everything from a 1-4 up to a 6-24x50.
Okay. 6 to 24.
And then, that's the highest magnification in that one. We do then our Mod 5 line, which is kind of a little bit step above that. Keep in mind, same glass, same aluminum. We're not changing quality. We're just changing features. So our Mod 5 line, we kind of say is more dedicated to the general hunting, general shooting. They're not caliber specific like our Mod 3 line is. Gotcha. We have a 1-4 all the way up to a 4-16x40. And we'll be bringing in a 6-24x50 first focal plane here in the near future in that line. But those are more of our general hunting, general shooting. Those are, the ubiquitous 3x9x40 hunting optic. Our 4-16 is our number one selling hunting optic. They're all on a 30 mil tube in the Mod 5 line. And our Mod 3 line, we have kind of a mix between 1 inch and 30 mil, depending on the optic.
Okay.
And so those were our first two lines that we came out with. We're actually in the works with a Gen 2 for some of those. Our most popular models within those two lines are going to move on to our second generation with some new features and stuff like that later this fall.
Okay.
So we're constantly, that's the other big thing, is we're constantly taking feedback, we're never too set in our ways to not change, to not fix something, to not update something. If we get the right feedback and we get enough of it, we'll add it into our line. I mean, that's the beauty of being a smaller company where we're adaptable and kind of we can move with the public and get feedback and use it.
Let's talk about some of this terminology that you're using, because I kind of want to talk first grade level optics here for our listeners. like me that are learning about the optics, and when I go look at an optic, when you say 1 to 4 by 24, what are you talking about?
Okay, yeah. So when you look at an optic, the first numbers are the magnification range. So if it's a single number, like a 4, so like you have something that says like a 4 by 32, that's a fixed 4 power. It doesn't have a magnification range.
Starts off, you're already 4 magnification right off the bat.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the next number is your objective size, normally measured in millimeters. So the objective is as it's mounted on the rifle, the farthest away from the shooter's eye is the objective. So the end of the scope, if you will. And that gives you the size. So the size of the objective is important, depending on if you're trying to have a small lightweight gun or what you're trying to do with it on the size, actual physical size, but it's also important with light transmission and how much light is actually gathered and coming into the scope. So for longer magnification, higher magnification, longer shooting, you want a bigger objective so it lets more light into the actual scope, into the glass. So that's where objective size is important.
And that would be the rear. No, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
So that would be the end that's closest to the muzzle. So the farthest away from your eye.
Okay.
That's how that's measured.
One closest to the target.
Closest to the target. Yep.
Okay.
The part closest to your eye is the eyepiece, which all of ours come with a fast focus eyepiece. So at the very, very end of the scope, the closest thing to you, is adjustable for different eyesights, so you can always dial in the clarity. And then as you kind of move down the scope, the closest to the shooter's eye is the eyepiece, and then the fast focus eyepiece, which is adjustable. You move forward a little bit, you have what is called the zoom ring or the magnification ring. So on a variable scope now, not a fixed power, on a variable, like for instance a 1 to 4, that means it's variable power from 1 magnification, which is no magnification, all the way up to say 4 power, which is 4 times what you would see with your naked eye. That's kind of how that works. So when I say the numbers like a 6 to 24 by 50, that means it's a 6 power at the minimum, variable up to a 24 power, with everything in between, and then the 50 refers to the size of the objective, the part of the scope closest to the muzzle.
Okay, very good. And then if it's got like an IR at the end of it.
So IR for us just stands for illuminated reticle.
Yeah.
We do offer our illuminated reticles in our scopes. This is a kind of a misnomer that people have. They're not a red dot. It's not a red dot optic in the sense of a bright light in the middle of the day. They're an illuminated reticle, which is used for low light, meaning early morning, late at night hunting or late evening hunting, transitioning in and out of buildings where you have different light coming from bright to dark to bright. That's where you would use an illuminated style reticle.
Right.
They're not what you would consider a red dot optic.
Red dot. But you guys offer red dots, and we'll talk about those in just a minute.
Yep.
So you also said first focal plane. What are you talking about when you say?
So first and second focal plane. So the majority of scopes, in the past, it's starting to change now a little more to first focal plane, but the majority of scopes have always been second focal plane. So second focal plane means the reticle stays the same size as you zoom in on your target. But as you zoom, the target actually gets bigger, if that makes sense, because you're zooming in on that target. So the higher the magnification, the bigger the target looks. But your reticle, in perspective, not to get too keeping it at the first grade level. With this.
Keep it left-hand level.
Okay. The target gets bigger, the reticle stays the same size. So the perspective and the ratio of how much of the target the reticle takes up it actually changes.
So the target actually takes up more of your focal.
At low magnification, the reticle would take up more of the target. At high magnification, the reticle would take up less of the target because the target gets bigger, but the reticle stays the same size.
Okay.
And by reticle, I mean crosshairs. The crosshairs inside the scope.
Gotcha.
In a first focal plane optic, at the base level of how that works, is it actually maintains the same ratio throughout the zoom range. So if a good way to look at it is, so say like a mil dot scope. Everybody's familiar with a mil dot reticle. If at 1 power that mil dot is, say, placed on a for lack of a better example, placed on a human-sized head on a silhouette target. If it covers that whole target, the whole head at 1 power, as you zoom and the target gets bigger in your scope, the reticle actually grows in ratio to how fast you zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So its highest magnification, the reticle actually appears to grow. So it'll still take up that same size head of the target, if that makes sense.
Right. So
it goes with the zoom, so that way your reticle proportions stay the same through no matter what zoom that you're at.
Gotcha. And that's first focal plane.
That's the first focal plane. Yeah, it is hard to kind of dumb that down. So,
what's preferred?
Depends on what you're doing.
Right.
Like I said, most scopes of the past were second focal plane. Most scopes that are probably on the market now that people have are second focal plane. People who are doing sniping, long range shooting, range estimation, that's where a first focal plane comes in, where you can actually use the reticle within your scope to judge distances based on range estimation, on how much of the reticle is taken up by the target at any given zoom. So first focal planes traditionally in the past, it's changing a little bit now, but traditionally in the past they were military, law enforcement, snipers, precision rifle shooters, stuff like that was mainly first focal plane, where you weren't actually using your reticle for range estimation or anything like that, or where you were. Second focal plane were our hunters and kind of just your general shooter. And like I said, the majority of optics out there on the market and on people's scopes are probably second focal plane.
Right. But yours are first.
We do a mixture of both. So
mixture of both. Okay.
we have some that are first focal plane that a lot depends on what the shooter is looking for and what the application for that's going to be. Our Mod 3 line on the AR platform is all second focal plane. Our Mod 5 line, we have a mixture of first and second focal planes depending on the application that is going to be used by the shooter.
Mm-hmm. Now, you talked about the reticles.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the different types of reticles and pros, cons, benefits when you would want to use a certain reticle over another reticle.
Yeah, the reticle world has really grown, and as of late, it used to be kind of the ubiquitous, what we call a duplex reticle, which is just 4 lines that meet in the middle, and that's your center point. And they could either be, thicker on the edges and then thinner towards the middle. That's kind of the standard old duplex that we all had in scopes growing up. As of late, reticles have gotten a lot more complex, all the way up to some like horse reticles that are out on the market that do ranging for you, and you can calculate how fast a vehicle's moving and holdovers all within the reticle. What we try to do is make it to application and weapon platform specific. So like I was saying earlier, on our AR platform, our Mod 3 reticle, or our Mod 3 scopes, we use a bullet drop compensated reticle, a BDC reticle it's called. And the nice thing about that is we do the calibration work for you. You zeroed at 100 yards. The next hash mark down, it's a graduated hash mark system on the reticle, on the elevation. So the next hash mark down, you hold that. If you know you're shooting 200 yards, you hold that mark on the 200-yard target, and it automatically calibrates for the drop of the bullet.
So instead of having to re-click each time, you just use those guides on the reticle itself and adjust your, I guess your gun position. Lack of a better term, I guess.
Essentially, it calculates the holdover for you. So instead of using the old kind of Kentucky windage type thing where you're just kind of holding the crosshairs above the target, this actually calculates it for you. So we do that on our AR platform, specific optics in our Mod 3 line. Our Mod 5 line, because it's not specific to a caliber, we have a lot of different reticle options, from illuminated center dots to, like I kind of said earlier, a mil dot reticle. We have a duplex reticle in our 3x9 standard hunting rifle optic. We have ranging target reticles. So a lot just depends on the application and what you're actually going to be using it for. If you're a bench shooter that needs to know known distances and you sit on a bench at the range and shoot all day, then we have a reticle for that. If you're a hunter, if you're a...
Okay. So you can specify which reticle you want on your...
So right now our reticles are already chosen for you in the actual optic, but we're getting to a point now that's going to kind of be one of our next things that we roll out over the next little bit, is the ability to choose a reticle for whatever optic you want. Right now, to initially with the launch we did was we kind of picked the most popular reticle for that application. And then moving forward, we're going to be starting to do some customizing with different reticles options.
Nice. Now, you guys also have you've got a Mod 7.
Correct.
Let's talk about your Mod 7s.
Yeah, so our Mod 7 line was just released about 3 weeks ago, actually. We have currently on the market, we have a 4 to 20 by 50, which is kind of our high-end, high-performance hunting optic. It's really aimed at the hunter who wants the high-quality glass, same glass we use in all our scopes, but we have a high-quality glass in there. We do a 30 mil tube. We have some higher tolerances within our reticle systems. We have a push-pull, or within our turret systems. We have push-pull locking turrets. And it's really what I consider our 4 to 20 by 50 is our, for lack of a better term, just a bare bones, good, high quality hunting optic.
Good overall optic.
It doesn't have, it doesn't have illumination. It doesn't have a lot of things in it because a lot of states don't allow hunting with anything that's electronic in the optic.
Oh, really? Then that counts. Illumination counts.
Yeah, illuminate anything electronic, even if you don't have a battery in it, if it contains electronic circuitry, there's states out there that won't let you hunt with that optic. So our goal with our Mod 7 4 to 20 by 50 was just to make a really robust hunting optic that could be used anywhere.
Some of these hunting laws really need to be reevaluated, seriously.
They're very antiquated, some of them. So I think they're due definitely for an update, kind of catch up with technology.
Yeah, definitely. So so that's one Mod 7. You've got a whole line of Mod 7s.
Yeah, we have a 5 to 25 by 56 with a 34 mil tube. That one is a first focal plane, mil dot reticle, and and we do different adjustments too, for MOA and MRAD adjustments, mil rating adjustments, depending on how you were trained. And then here in another couple weeks, we're going to be releasing our Mod 7 1 to 5 by 24 optic illuminated reticle. And that one is currently in the hands of several of our sponsored 3-gun shooters, kind of as some of our prototype testing. Mm-hmm. And that one actually has what we're calling our right-on quick acquisition target, or quick acquisition reticle, which is made to immediately, when that scope is in front of your eye, you can pick up the reticle, you can pick up the target, and you can pull the trigger. We've been having a lot of success with it, and some 3-gun competitions with our shooters. So we're really, really excited for that one to get out on the market here.
We got to get that one in Casey's hand.
Yeah. We will get some sent out to you and get some people's feedback for sure.
Is that all the Mod 7? You got more Mod 7s?
That's all the Mod 7s coming out right now. We have a few in the works that I'll definitely have to come back on here in a month or so and give the good news, because we have a couple really good things in the works. And we're also going to be releasing, I can tell you this fall, we're going to be releasing our Mod 1 series, which is kind of our lower end series, kind of a little more affordable optic. Once again,
your optics are affordable already. I mean,
yeah, this one,
relatively speaking, for the quality and the price, my gosh, I mean, you guys got to go to RITON USA, check their reticles out, compare them to the other companies that are out there. If you find any that are cheaper than theirs, then they're going to be just that, they're going to be cheap. You know, they're going to be cheap pieces of crap. These guys have the high quality product out there, the high quality. I mean, I compare you guys to Vortex. I think Vortex is a good quality scope out there. And compared to where they were when they started to where you guys are now, I mean, you guys are blowing them out of the water.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's
just my personal opinion.
No, I appreciate it. And we kind of use them. It would be dumb not to know your competition when coming into a market. So we use them. We use some of the other optics companies out there and kind of took what they were doing and tried to do it a step further. We beat them on our glass quality. We beat them on our aluminum quality. We beat them with our warranty. That was something that was really
can't beat that warranty. I mean, that's a bit. You can't go wrong. If you don't like it, you can send it back. If you break it, you can send it back. Lifetime warranty on that. You know, you got 30 days to send it back if you don't like it, just in general. But then a lifetime warranty, if you ding the thing up, break it, you know, whatever. You can't beat that.
And I love when you guys get a chance, go to the website, ritonusa.com, and actually look at the warranty, and feel free to compare that to anybody's. There's no small print in our warranty. That was one of the big things for us is we don't try to fool anybody. We're not trying to play games. That's not who we are. That's not what we're about. So it's not, an unlimited lifetime warranty, but read the fine print. Ours is unlimited lifetime warranty. Something happens, we take care of you. We get you a new one in your hands, and you get back to doing whatever it was that you were doing.
There it is. That's cool. Now, we didn't talk about your red dots either. Let's talk about your red dots.
Perfect. Yeah. So currently we have our Mod 3 RRD, our rifle red dot, is out on the market right now. It is what we took from the competition is we wanted a lighter weight, a more robust, something that's in a smaller package. It comes with a cantilever mount. We designed it with a 30 millimeter tube. So if you don't like our mount, that's fine. You can use any other aftermarket mount in the industry. We kind of try to think of a lot of different things for people and how they would actually use this. It's aimed at, like I said, rifle red dot. It's aimed at the AR market currently. We've mounted a bunch to, even using just our 30 mil scope rings, we mounted a bunch to lever actions all the way to big game 357s. So it's a really robust optic. That was kind of the one that I told you was one of our parking lot red dots that literally looks like a banana that's peeling back but still ticking. And the red dot, it's accurate. We take it out to the range and put it on, and we're going to actually be putting out a video pretty soon of showing the accuracy that it still holds zero after all the parking lot frustration throws. So
nice.
It's kind of something that kind of show people, because that's the first question is like, well, that's great, you can beat up your optic because it holds zero. Yeah, and that's one thing that we're real proud of, is they're not just durable aesthetic wise, they're durable of actual usage. So
yeah. And you said it was adjustable. It's adjustable on the intensity.
Yep. So it has 6 different settings. The first 2 settings are night vision compatible. That was really big for us because we actually have picked up some law enforcement contracts with this red dot already. So it's night vision compatible. It has an off between each setting, so it's not one of those that you have to spin it all the way back around to zero. You can pick your favorite setting, 4, 5, 6, whatever it may be, and just go off 6, off 6. You don't have to spin it all the way back around. So we kind of try to add in a few user features that we would want in a red dot. It's incredibly lightweight without the mount. It's under 6 ounces.
Nice.
With the mount, it's under 6 ounces. So without,
with the mount,
lighter than that. Okay. With the mount, it's under 6 ounces. So it's incredibly lightweight, really robust. We're actually here. I'm happy to announce, because I think we had teased you a little bit at NRA. Our new micro red dot is coming out here and will be on the market within the next 2 weeks. So
nice.
we went even smaller. So this one, we took kind of a different approach where it is set up and comes with a co-witness mount for an AR platform, but also in the box it comes with a medium and a low, so it can mount flush to any rail system.
Oh, nice.
So this one actually out of the box can go on ARs, 22s, shotguns,
whatever you want to put it on.
Any rifle that you can mount it on, it'll have the correct height mount in the box for you to mount it on.
Very cool. And that's going to be out in a couple of weeks.
That will be out in a couple of weeks. Yep. Everything will be up on the website shortly.
Okay.
Along with that, we're releasing our 3X magnifier that goes with the red dots. So that will be out in a couple of weeks as well at the same time. So that one you can either pair up with our current rifle red dot or with the micro red dot that's coming out.
So you guys are doing a magnifier also. Very good. That was going to be my next question. Yeah.
Yep. We're timing the release so it comes out at the same time as that micro. And it also works with our current red dot that's out on the market.
Very cool. Now, is it going to come with a mount as well?
It does. It comes with a flip side mount.
Perfect.
It does. The one we went with this time it's a spring action. So you pull back, flip it to the side, it locks in place. So it's a positive lock when it's either flipped to the side or on top. So it's not flopping around, not moving around at all. And actually, if you look, one of your sponsors, Frontier Tactical, we work with them, and you got a kind of sneak peek of a couple of our prototypes with the micro and the magnifier on a few of their Warlock guns.
Yeah, they had them at NRA.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they've been doing some testing for us for a while, and the fun thing with that is we mount the magnifier on the upper of their AR system, and then you mount a red dot on their interchangeable barrel. And so all you have to do is have a red dot that's on each barrel, and it's zeroed for that caliber, zeroed for that barrel. It stays with that barrel system, and the magnifier stays with the upper. So when you change out to a new barrel, you're automatically zeroed with your red dot, and you just start shooting.
That's awesome. That's awesome on the red dots. I'm looking forward to getting those magnifiers in the 3X magnification. I've actually been, shopping around. I didn't realize that you guys were coming out with that, so I'm glad you told me. So
stop shopping.
I'm done. I'm done. Yeah, absolutely. Now another thing that you guys do, I know that you've got binoculars out and you're working on spotting scopes. They're not out quite yet, but talk about your binos and your spotting scopes.
So our first bino out was we really wanted to hit that lightweight, sort of the hunting market, because that's the majority of bino users. We came out with a 10x42. It's an HD ED glass, which is not high definition, it's high density, and extra dispersion. It's how the molecules, back to glass, it's how the molecules within the lenses are arranged. So it gives you a really, really crisp picture without distortion. So yeah, they're 10 by 42 HD glass. Like I said, it's a magnesium alloy. It's super lightweight. We have videos out there of us parking a Humvee on top of them.
Are you serious?
They're strong as hell. They have an adapter for a bipod or a tripod, so you can hook them up to a tripod and sit all day in glass. The price point's incredibly good for the quality that you're getting. We've had people trade in some of their German glass for side-by-side comparisons, and like, holy shit, I could have saved $600 for if I would have checked these out, and end up buying some of ours. So yeah, we're extremely happy with those. Some more different magnification and different objectives coming soon. So maybe some 15 by 50s and some other ones like that we're testing out. Spotting scopes is a huge thing that everybody wants us to do because they love the clarity of the glass we use. They are in the works. One of the biggest things for us is we do not release anything until we 120% know it's right. So if that means blowing through a date that we expected to release it because we don't like the way this functions or that looks or whatever, we 100% do that. So I don't give any dates. We are working on spotting scopes, and we're working on another pair of binoculars. What we like to do is kind of fit them up with our product line. So right now, our binocular that's out is part of our Mod 5 series. Mm-hmm. So in theory, we're trying to come out with a Mod 3 and a Mod 7 binocular, as well as some different magnification ranges within those series. And then that's how we're going to make our spotting scopes as well, fit into each one of those series as far as price point and application. So those are definitely in the works. We are always developing and always testing. It never stops. So.
Yeah. So you guys, I mean, to be a new company, I mean, you've got a wide variety of products out there available. The red dots, the scope, the rifle scopes themselves with the 3 different levels. You got the Mod 3, Mod 5, now the Mod 7s. Your binoculars, you're coming out with spotting scopes. You got the magnifiers, and then there's a couple other things that you're working on. Can't talk about yet, but
yeah, the Mod 1s will be out too in this fall, which is nice, a little addition to kind of rounding out that whole product line. So
yeah, I mean that's cool. So I mean, you guys, Leadheads, you got to check out RITON USA. You're not going to be disappointed. You got the Leadhead guarantee as well, and you guys have set up the Leadheads with a little discount code too, right?
We have. We'll try to take care of your listeners for sure.
Yeah, so you guys use the Leadhead discount code. Go to their website, whatever you want, use the Leadhead discount code, and you're going to get a nice, generous discount. And then just so happens if you, for our military law enforcement Leadheads out there, he's got a special discount code set up for you guys. You want to tell them what that is, Brady?
Yeah, actually, so the way we work our program is we handle it. We don't outsource it to a third party or anything like that. So all you have to do is write in to us, info@ritonusa.com. You send us just take a picture with your cell phone of your ID, your DD214, whatever it may be. And we do a 40% discount for military, vets, law enforcement, all first responders. So
nice.
We do 40% off, and we handle all that ourselves. So we kind of being both military and law enforcement background, and I'm a 4th generation military, so we're big on taking care of those who serve us, our country and our communities.
Yes, you are, and that's another thing that while we partner so well together, you guys are a member of the Anti-Terrorist Alliance, as are we, and obviously you're veteran owned. Now, do you have a partner? Is it just you?
It's just us. Me and my wife started this company, and it is us, family owned and operated.
But RITON, obviously, as you guys can guess, I mean, they support our law enforcement, our military, first responders, and this is another way that they do that by offering this awesome discount on their products.
We kind of have not to dive too deep into it, but we have an initiative called our RITON Heroes Initiative, and well,
let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we have our initiative called RITON Heroes that we're kind of just getting spun up now, but we take it as kind of an opportunity to serve those that serve us. It's not one of those things where we're, out there necessarily right now building houses for vets and stuff like that. We want to get to that point, but we look at it as, that young enlisted guy who maybe needs a little extra help this month because his car broke down or some different things like that. So we try to showcase some people that are doing good things within what we call our heroes, our law enforcement, our military communities. And then we try to just kind of give back. We, this fall, once the weather actually cools down in Arizona, we do, a monthly luncheon where we just pull out the barbecue grill, and any military, we got a local military base. We invite them all out. We get them a lunch, just hang out.
That's awesome.
and be able to spend time with each other. And we work with the vets and a lot of the vet community locally and nationally as well. With some different charities, with Special Operations Wounded Warrior and the Special Operations Charity Network. We do some stuff with them as well. So
okay, very good.
It's big for us to give back and kind of try to showcase some of those people. And a big key for us is it's not just the people who make the news. We appreciate the Medal of Honor winners and everything like that, but everybody that answers the call to serve is a hero in our book, and we try to do anything we can do to help out. So
amen. Yeah. So another reason for you guys to support RITON USA, the more you support them, the more they're going to be able to do good work like that. And like you said, eventually get to the building of the houses and stuff like that too. So.
Yep, exactly.
Very good. I need to hook you up with Sheepdog Impact Assistance.
Okay.
Get you in touch with Sergeant Major Lance Nutt. Yeah, you'd fit in well with their organization, no doubt.
What was it again?
Sheepdog Impact Assistance. Sheepdogia.org.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look.
So another thing that you've got what's called your pro staff, and you've got some celebrity type folk out there.
Yeah, well, so we kind of approached our pro staff a little differently. We didn't just go out there and find, the top guys that do 3-gun or long range shooting and kind of sign them to hawk our goods. We kind of wanted to have that, as you can tell, that kind of underlying theme of like veteran support and law enforcement and first responder support. And so we kind of worked our pro staff team a little differently. I'll throw out some of the names, and these are people that have actually approached us. That's the beauty of it, is we kind of put the word out that we were looking for some people that are like-minded and wanted to work with us. We don't pay them anything. We've given them, a free bino or a free scope here or there, but we don't pay them anything. We don't do anything. They're doing it out of their support,
because they believe in you guys and your product. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So, and a few of the big ones we do, Aaron Tippin, he's been in the country music industry for, I think he just celebrated 25 years.
Oh yeah.
He's part of our pro staff. He's actually he's in the middle of a 31 stop, tour. We picked 10 of the dates that he wanted to do. And we're actually getting the local chief of police up on stage. And some of the guys that work with the chief of police wants to honor, they come up on stage during the concert. Aaron kind of thanks them, gives them one of our scopes as kind of a little
cool.
thank you, and kind of an appreciation for what they do and our process of wanting to thank them. And it kind of gives an avenue for that chief of police too to kind of thank some of his guys that he wants to bring to the concert and get up on stage too.
Very cool.
Aaron's been great with that. Rick Monroe, another country music artist, has been helping us a lot.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones were actually been, Earlene Mandrell. She contacted us the other day. I guess, she has an album that's going to be dropping on Veterans Day. And she kind of heard of what we were doing with Aaron and some of that stuff. And she was like super ecstatic to want to get on board and help us out. So
that's great.
Yeah. So we're talking with her. Some other, just kind of some random ones. We have a good friend, Tyler Falwell. He's a Major League Baseball pitcher. Out of nowhere, I was contacted. I don't know if this name rings a bell, but Bill Kazmaier. He was the world's strongest man.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched a documentary on him the other day.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, he's a great guy. He
cool.
lives up in Alaska, and my phone rang one day, and he's like, "This is Bill Kazmaier," and I was like, I grew up watching you compete, So
right, world's strongest man cool. competitions.
Yep, taking that 1-inch rebar and bending it over his head, and
carrying refrigerators and
exactly. He's like, "Hey, I bought a couple of your scopes from a dealer up here. I heard your story, and what can I do to help? I want to help push your brand, and I want to be part of things." So he's on our pro staff. I'll tease this because it's in the final little bit, but Hoist Gracie, the first UFC Hall of Famer.
Nice.
Everybody knows who he is. He reached out, he has a big heart for veterans and stuff like that too. So he reached out. We're kind of in the process. He's a little bit bigger star, so we're working through the stuff with his agent right now, but he's on board. And then we have a bunch of other ones that people just want to help out. Andrew Callis is a renowned professional photographer that he's actually helping us out with some of the Aaron Tippin events, and
Nice.
he just wanted to kind of donate his time and help us out. So it's kind of been fun.
Now, are you guys posting
behind
where people can go and maybe see these guys out in public and
Yeah, so we're
with your
actually
products and stuff?
kind of version 2.0 of the website will be dropping here in a couple weeks, which has a dedicated, now our pro staff team is fairly built out. It has a dedicated page for our pro staff that will be updates and all the different events and all the different things they're doing, so people can kind of get involved and see what they're doing, as well as obviously our social media and everything. We talk about it, and any events that we do in conjunction with these guys, we obviously talk about it and post it out. So
very cool. And now you got Left Hand of Talking Lead on that pro staff.
Yep.
So yeah, you guys make sure when they get that new website up, go check that out. And you never know who else they're going to add on that pro staff. So be paying attention. We'll probably get some of those guys on the show too. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, I know someone would love to talk with you. So
love to have Aaron on. Would love to get the Kaz on. That would be awesome. The baseball player guy, I'm not familiar with him, but that'd be cool. I love talking sports. We'll get him on.
Yeah, well, definitely. He's an up-and-coming pitcher with the Royals organization, so we can definitely make that happen.
The Royals with cheese. Very cool.
Yep.
All right. Now it's time for the Talking Lead.
Facts to fight the myths.
And just so happens, Brady's got a myth he would like to debunk in the optics world. What do you got for us, Brady?
So the number one thing that we run up against, and obviously it has its place, but the number one thing we run up against is the level of magnification people actually need in an optic.
Yeah, because I want the biggest magnification I can get, man.
Everyone thinks that the higher the magnification, the better the scope. That's what everybody thinks. And we run into that all the time. And by the time we actually talk through them and what their usage is and what their needs are, it never ends up being the scope that they actually think that it is.
I want to be able to shoot the shit out of a fly's ass at 1,000 yards.
Right. And then the next question I have is, well, what kind of gun do you have? What kind of training do you have? And, so we get, that's part of what we do. We personalize, kind of the shopping experience of going into.
Got a Ruger 1022. I want to take out 2,000 yards.
Exactly. So it's part of that myth is that it's going to make you want a better shot, but people don't realize that the higher the zoom, the tighter and the smaller, what we call in the industry, the exit pupil. So what you actually see, the picture you actually see through the scope. So as you zoom in, you get less peripheral, you get less, the picture gets smaller, essentially, for lack of a better term. So yes, it can help you zoom in on a paper target under perfect circumstances, and you're shooting a 2-mile shot, then obviously you need a decent amount of magnification. Part of that myth is most people think that they shoot a lot farther than they actually do. You're not taking 1,500-yard shots on white-tailed deer, but people want a scope that they can do that. So
I think because they put a 25-power scope on there, it's going to make their gun go that much further too.
Exactly, and that's when we realize the more I talk to people and the more you look at history. I mean, some of the most successful snipers in the world, going back to Hathcock and the Marine Corps, and they were using fixed 4 powers. They were using fixed 9 powers. We actually just had a law enforcement organization switch over to some of our Mod 7 optics, and they've been a successful tactical law enforcement department for the last 20 years using a fixed 9 power. You don't need that. The myth that definitely is in this industry is that the more magnification, the better a scope is, which that's in certain circumstances that's the case, but it needs to match up to the application. That's kind of what we try to preach to people is if you're shooting white-tailed deer at 100 yards, you don't need a 25-power scope.
Right. So what would be ideal for just, in your opinion, hunting? Again, I know it depends on where you're at in the environment, but just in general, hunting whitetail.
Honestly, the scope that's been around, I grew up and cut my teeth on it. The scope that's been around forever is a variable 3x9x40 scope.
Right.
It gives you 3 power. You can glass. You can take in a lot of terrain and be able to look through it. At 9 power, you're zoomed in close enough for that 200, 300, 400-yard shot, but you're not so zoomed in that you're losing if the deer walks out of your sight picture, for instance.
Mm-hmm. Or if you hiccup.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be able to still have awareness of what's around your target. So honestly, a variable 3x9, I've killed elk and deer and moose and you name it with 3x9 growing up. Obviously, like I said, it's application specific. We have, dangerous game hunters that only want a 1 to 4 power because they want to be able to see everything when that lion or something or that Cape buffalo decides to charge at them. But then there's also those, if you're shooting a 1,500 yard shot, then I understand that you need that. But yeah, the biggest myth that we deal with is the more magnification means it's a better scope, or it means it's going to better fit what you're trying to do, which is not necessarily the case. I mean, I currently have our Mod 5 4 to 16 by 40 on my 300 Web mag that I use for hunting, and I maybe zoomed it to 14 once or twice while I sighted it in. I killed a deer last year at like 8 power, at like 275 yards. So
yeah,
one of the, it's application specific.
Barely used half of its capability. Yeah.
Exactly. Because I want to see if I hit it and I wound it, if it takes a run, I want to be able to immediately see where it's going. I don't want to be so zoomed in that now I'm trying to figure out what the hell just happened, And
just because you can zoom in 25 times doesn't make it a better scope for what you need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is 100% application specific, not just one size fits all. And that's kind of what the big myth that we fight every day.
And it does not make your bullets go further.
Right. If I can see 2 miles, my bullet must go 2 miles.
Yeah, if I can see it, my bullet can reach it. Yeah,
right.
Not.
Yeah, exactly.
Once you put the fucker in orbit and
yeah, exactly.
Drop it from a satellite,
like a mortar round.
Right. Very good. Very good. And that's kind of I used to think that too. I mean, when I would look at a scope, and I'd be shopping for scopes and. I see like a 3x9, and then I'd see one over here. I was like, oh, that's a 4 to 16. I mean, that's got to be a better scope. Maybe I should get that one. And then I'll, look over and see one that does a little bit more magnification. I'm like, well, shit, I might as well get the most for my money, kind of my thought process, but that's not the way it is.
Right.
Yeah. So I fell into that myth. I fell into that trap before. Well, that's a good fact to fight the myth.
Good. We're here to fix it. Exactly. Yeah. I had to do this because I know we've looked at this before, but like, literally one of the most famous snipers in history is Carlos Hathcock from the Marine Corps, and most of his shots were using either an 8 power or a 10 power, and we're talking that's one of the most successful snipers in the world. Granted, times change and technology changes, so there's a time and a place for that, but that's just, we want people to consider what the application is before you just jump and try to find what's the most powerful scope you have. Well, what are you actually using it for? That's our next follow-on question. Right.
Very good. All right, so real quick, I'm going to run through these questions with you. We're going to learn a little bit more about Brady. And the first question you've already answered. You do have law enforcement, military background. Is there any detail you want to go into that? Do you want to talk about the branch you were with, what you did?
Yeah, we can go into it. I was in the Air Force. I actually did air traffic control, so I was a tower air traffic controller.
Okay, cool.
Which tends to be a stressful job until you actually get the hang of things, and then it becomes very bored and mundane. So,
and then you start drinking and
thus not wanting to do it the rest of my life.
Exactly. Start playing Galaga while you're supposed to be watching.
While you're supposed to be working.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I've got an aviation background. So.
Nice. It's always the controller's fault. So
yeah. So and then you talked about you've been shooting since you were 9. What was the first rifle that you shot?
I've been shooting even since earlier than that. I think probably my 5 or 6.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Shot. We had an old, which is funny now that I own an optics company. We had an old iron sight 22 that was a tube feed. I believe it was I can't remember if it was a Remington or Winchester. I think it was a Remington old tube feed. Hold 15 in the tube, 1 in the pipe. That's what I grew up shooting. My dad actually had a scope for it and wouldn't let us use the scope until we were actually proficient with the iron sights. And to be honest with you, even as an owner of a scope company, this may sound not intuitive, but I recommend that too. If you need to be able to use those backup iron sights, you need to be able to know your weapons platform well enough. And then when you put that scope on top, it's amazing the difference it makes. But I love the fact that my dad gave me that grounding. And here's a 22 tube feed. Here's a box of 22s. Go shoot some squirrels. Go do whatever you want to do. And you're going to learn to shoot with iron sights and go have fun with it. And Yeah, so an old 2 feet 22. I still have it actually. I refurbished it, and
Oh, that's cool.
it's something I'm going to teach my son on when he just turned 5. So he's getting ready to get out there and start
He's
doing
ready
it.
to go then. Yeah.
Yep.
You need to get him out there.
Yep.
So what was the first, I guess, handgun? What was your first handgun that you owned that you could say was yours personally?
So you're going to laugh at this because this is not exactly the way people normally do this. So the first handgun I actually owned was passed down to me by my dad. He was an Alaska State Trooper, and the gun he carried on duty was a 357 Highway Patrolman revolver. So not many people can say that their first pistol they ever owned was a 357 wheel gun.
Right.
So
Nice. Do
I
you
love
still have that
gun.
one?
I still have it. It's the most accurate pistol I have. I love that gun. We're actually going to take it out and do some javelina hunting in Arizona with it later this year. So it's cool. It's a fun gun. I still have it. That was the very first pistol I shot.
What's your current carry?
I switch back and forth. I carry, like I said, I had a Glock 23, Glock 27.
Man after my own heart.
A Glock 43 that in the summers in Arizona, it's nice to have that small gun to carry. So I'll carry that sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not a one kind of fits all. I got a Colt and a Kimber 1911s. I have
like them all.
A SIG 229. I don't judge. I like them all. Everyone has a different application and a different reason.
Exactly.
I have the most training on the Glocks from my law enforcement experience, shooting thousands of rounds through a Glock. So in a oh shit situation, that's kind of my go-to gun just because of the comfort level.
Right, mine too. Yeah, that's my go-to. But I'm like you. I mean, I'm a gun nerd. I like them all.
Right.
I'd have one of each if I could. So, has there ever been a firearm that you were ashamed to admit that you owned?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I have to look through my collection, but no.
No. Nothing that he's like, I haven't really told anybody I own that.
No, not that I can think of actually.
Okay.
I'm actually pretty happy now. Come to think of it, I'm pretty happy with everyone I have.
So what would be next on your list? Gotta have, wanna have. What's on your list?
That's a good question. I go back and forth between some of the heritage guns. I have like an old trapdoor from way back when.
Okay.
I have some. So I collect some old guns. I have an old World War II gun with a bayonet that goes to it. So I like to kind of collect some of the older ones that I come across.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't have any super big bore guns. I kind of grew up hunting elk and stuff with a 300 Win mag. So
yeah,
that's kind of my go-to hunting round for most North American game. But
it's a solid round.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind something maybe either like a big bore, a 357 or 375 or something like that, or even 416 or something a little bigger I can reach out and shoot some long distance with.
Very cool. Price be damned, laws be damned. What would you own?
Ooh,
broadcast, just and it doesn't have to be guns. It could be anything.
Oh, see, I immediately went to guns, so that kind of tells you how I think.
Well, no, I mean that's kind of it's a leading question, but yeah.
Right. We're talking about guns, and then you tell me price be damned. And
so guns, price be damned, law be damned. Guns. What would you have?
I think it would be fun to do. I can never choose just one. This is a hard question. I think it'd be awesome to have a minigun. I think it'd be awesome to add some experience with those in the military a little bit. So just the pure firepower and rate of fire is amazing. I grew up in the military on an A-10 base, A-10 Warthog. So I love that Gatling gun on the front of that thing.
Yeah. I would just take the whole fucking plane. I would take the whole Warthog.
I'll take the whole thing. So something that I think would be badass, a 30 mil Gatling gun, but a minigun. Like I said, I also have kind of a leaning to some of the older stuff. So like an old Maxim or an old, some old kind of heritage traditional old machine gun or something would be pretty fun.
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to pop culture, movies, songs, books, TV shows, video games. I don't know if you're a video gamer or not. I doubt it. You probably don't have much time. What would be your go-to that's firearms related?
I will answer the video game because I have zero time. I don't even own a console. And my DVR is always at like 98% full because I never have time to watch anything. Gets deleted before I get a chance to watch it.
So what are you DVRing?
We do. I like action. I like my thought with TV and movies is like I don't get too caught up in the award-winning stuff. I don't get too caught up in. I grew up with country westerns. A movie with guns. I'm a big fan of the movie Tombstone. That was kind of an old classic that I love. Me and my dad used to watch that a ton. I also like some of the military stuff. So cheesy as it is, like Top Gun and some of those where I kind of grew up watching those with my brothers.
Top Gun.
So I'm an action guy. I like to use movies and TV as more of a kind of release. I like comedies. I like action. I don't want to be too caught up in drama and stuff like that. My wife likes to watch some of the Datelines and some of that stuff. I'm like, I had to deal with that at work. I don't need to deal with that.
So are you watching like the Game of Thrones? You do any of that kind of stuff? You watching?
Yeah, I'm up to date on Game of Thrones. From living and working in DC, some of that Netflix, like House of Cards and some of that we'll watch.
House of Cards, okay.
Yeah, it kind of gives you a different thought process when you actually lived it, you know?
Did you ever see the movie Shooter with Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, yep.
What did you think about that movie? Did you like that movie? I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, I think it's a good movie. Like my biggest thing is I don't get too caught up in if they were good actors or whatever. It was a good plot.
No, I don't either. I mean, I like what I like, and it was a good movie in my opinion. It was one that I watched several times over. Now, the reason I bring that up is, did you know that there is a TV series out called The Shooter?
I actually just saw that on Netflix the other day.
I did too. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
how did I not know?
Have you watched it yet?
Yeah, I did. And it's like the movie.
That's what I saw it. I haven't started. I was like, is it going to be?
I was like, how do they make a TV series out of this?
Or is it,
Well, it's predictable because you know the movie and they kind of follow the movie, but then they put twist in it, to make it into a TV series, I guess, so they can continue it and whatnot. So it's got some differences to it. But it's what's that guy's name? Ryan Felipe is playing. What's the character's name? I can't remember what's. I'm gonna pull it up here. It's gonna drive me nuts.
Yeah, you gotta look it up now.
Bob Lee Swagger.
There he is. How did we forget that?
Bob Lee Swagger. Yeah. So he's playing Bob Lee Swagger.
I'll check it out then. Nice.
Yeah, but it was okay. It was good. It was kind of like they're following the movie here, but then they were like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing here. And when they get in, I guess they're going to do a season 2. Then it should be, there should be some twists going on. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Like I said, unfortunately, I don't have a ton of free time.
Oh yeah, well, it's kind of like one of those things. Like when I have the time, I binge, and I'll just and then I won't watch another one for a while, and then I'll binge again. And unless I can binge it, I won't watch it because I don't want to watch like one episode of something and then 8 months later I'm trying to get
say that, yeah.
I'm trying to get caught up.
When the next season comes out, you're trying to catch up.
Right, it just that don't work for me. So. All right, so if you could spend the day at the range with anyone or a group of people, fictional, alive, dead, who would it be?
One would be my dad because he taught me how to shoot. That's some of my fondest memories of hunting, and so one would definitely be my dad. Another one, actually, speaking of the movie Tombstone, I think it'd be awesome to hang out with Wyatt Earp and do some 6-gun stuff, and I think that'd be a fun time.
Oh yeah.
I also think there's some modern guys like that that like Chris Kyle, people like that have just amazing knowledge of some of these like shooting platforms and stuff that would be incredible knowledge bases that would be fun to be able to spend some time with and shoot with. Yeah,
I would want to shoot with the Martian from Looney Tunes, the P-52 space modulator or whatever it is.
Nice. I like it.
I would like
unlimited ammo and
right.
I like it.
I think that's all my questions. Let's see if I missed anything. Nope, that's it. Brady, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for stepping up and being our official Opitcs sponsor of Talking Lead. That's awesome. We're looking forward to doing some events with you guys coming up.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm looking forward to this is an incredible opportunity, and it's going to be a fun journey. So I'm looking forward to it. We appreciate the opportunity for sure.
Absolutely. So you guys make sure you go to ritonusa.com and check out their rifle scopes, their binos, soon to be rangefinders. There are red dots that are there, magnifiers, and some other products that are yet to be announced, but coming up soon. And you guys will hear the exclusive releases here on Talking Lead. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Just the RITON, because I don't want people searching like RIGHTON. So just
that's
the
a good
spelling of it,
point.
so.
Yeah, RITON, right on, because they are right on target, baby. Can you not use that phrase, right on target? Is somebody already using it?
We have trademark always right on, and then we do right on target, right on price, right on service. So yeah, those are ours.
Always right on target, baby. And big thanks to our other sponsors, Frontier Tactical. Check them out at frontiertactical.com. X-Steel Targets, xsteeltargets.com. Modern Spartan Systems, modernspartansystems.com. Glock. Of course, you can find Glock anywhere. Just Google Glock and us.glock.com. There it is. And, of course, all our partners and friends of the show, Keltec, Multicam Pattern, Ackless Defense. Check out our buddies over at Tactical Response. You guys need to get your training. Go to Tactical Response. Sign up for a plethora of different classes that they have. Handgun, rifle, medical, even strength training. They've offered those as well. Brady, again, thank you so much. We're going to be having Brady on again in the near future. As he told you, they've got some new releases coming up. So stay tuned for that. But until then, and as always, lead heads, keep your loved ones close.
And your firearms closer, and your targets even closer using right-on optics.